Yeah, man, I know, I'm excited. 8K. I'm about to play it back on the computer right now. This is the future. I gotta go.
What's good, creative fam? Brandon Washington here, and all jokes aside, Canon dropped a hammer yesterday. It's been roughly 24 hours since Canon announced the EOS R5, and like a lot of people, I was interested in dropping a video like the second after they did it, but I wanted to take 24 hours to really, just kind of get my thoughts together, because let's face it, we all saw the rumors. We saw that it was coming, but like most people, we all were pretty much ready for Canon to figure out a way to cripple themselves in some way. And let's face it, it didn't happen. We literally got the dream camera. Well, at least I think, how do I put this? I think we got our dream camera. I mean, it definitely checks all the spec boxes that we were looking for. In fact, it checks a lot of boxes that we didn't really even know we wanted, but yet somehow we got, like full frame 8K. Canon, this is the same Canon that couldn't even do 4K just a matter of years ago. They're dropping 8K on us like this. But, after taking some time to really pay attention to the videos that have come out and check out the specs and read a lot of things, there's a couple really interesting things that really are going to take some breaking down and honestly might change a lot of people's workflow. So let's talk about a few of those. So first, let's talk about these new memory cards in the EOS R5, CF Express cards. Now, these cards are relatively new. I mean, we've seen them popping up in a lot of Canon's newer cinema line cameras, but also these cameras give you the ability to record mass data amounts and quickly, which is definitely going to be necessary. I mean, for example, they're saying right now that if you have a 64 gigabyte card, that you're going to be able to get roughly 4 minutes. 4 minutes? That's not right. Is it really 4 minutes? 4 minutes? 64 gigs? How much does this card cost? Hold on, let me see. How much does this card cost? $100. Yo, it costs $100 for a 64 gigabyte card. Yo, my client's gonna have to get it right in one take. Let's just keep it real. All jokes aside, I think that when it comes to shooting 8K on this camera, it's definitely going to be a luxury item. I think for those very specific moments, maybe those very detailed type shots, you're going to want to go the 8K route. But let's face it, most of us are probably not going to shoot this camera in 8K all the time, at least until there's some type of solution to help solve some of this, storage problem. Speaking of storage problem, can you imagine the hard drives that it is going to require in order to keep 8K footage? I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys are like me, where you have just tons of hard drives all over the place just to handle all of your footage. But 8K is just a whole nother game. I mean, not too long ago, I did an entire job shooting with 8K raw footage on the Red. And let's face it, that footage was heavy, and it filled up so many hard drives so quickly, and a lot of the footage wasn't even usable footage. So whenever you're using a camera like this, thinking about how you're going to manage that storage is going to be crucial, which is the reason why I think it's going to change so many people's workflows. And of course, as we kind of joked at the beginning of this video, let's talk about your computer. I mean, let's face it, most of our computers maybe can handle 4K consistently. Probably when you start getting up to 6K, you start to see your computer slowing down. But geez, can you imagine these computers today trying to handle that 8K? Now, sure, we're seeing some great software updates, and Apple's coming out with new computers here and there. But the idea of starting to work with proxies, I think for a lot of people, is going to become a necessity very soon. If you're planning on picking up the EOS R5, I think you're going to have to figure out a way to learn how to work with proxies. which is a way that I had to work with my 8K RAW files. I had to convert them all into proxies, and then from there, be able to edit the proxies, and then at the last minute, add those original files back in, and then Lord, the export time on that project took forever. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like the EOS R5 isn't an amazing camera. It is phenomenal. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm excited about it. And I know a lot of people have been asking me like, so should they go R5 or should they go R6? Which way am I personally leaning? You know, honestly, I am really more so leaning towards the R5 because it feels like the last camera I'm going to need to buy for a while, and that's because it's so advanced. Things like the cost of memory cards eventually are going to come down. We saw the same thing with CF cards with the 1DX Mark II, or at least I did, and then eventually we saw companies come out with additional options on ways to use like SSDs in order to actually record to those instead of actually having to spend so much money on CF Express cards or CF cards at the time. So we're going to see a lot of solutions that come out over time. Obviously, this camera was just announced and it was a bomb to the entire industry. But what is everybody else going to do at this point? I mean, everybody loves Canon. Even if you switched over to Sony, like I did, I will say that, you know, you still loved Canon, whether it was their menus or their colors or their dual pixel autofocus. I don't think anybody discredited Canon. It was just that their specs weren't where the rest of the industry is. And now, even today, their specs are not where the rest of the industry is. They're further. So Canon has definitely crushed it. They have the lenses to support it with the RF line. I'm really just excited to see what ultimately happens. At this point, I'm definitely leaning more towards picking up the R5, but that's because I know if I buy an R6, I'm just gonna wish I would have bought the R5 a couple days later. So that's the way that I'm personally leaning. But I'd love to know what you guys are thinking about this new camera, thinking about the setup. If there's any specs that I maybe didn't bring up, like the fact that the R5 shoots 4K 120, but not 1080. I think they say that's a software update. I hope it is. 4K 120 sounds pretty storage hungry as well. But if there's any other specs like that that I didn't talk about that maybe you think is super important and maybe should sway my decision a little bit more, let me know down below in the comments. I have to say that I'm really, really excited about this camera, and I am excited, beyond excited, that these cameras are out. And I guess now the ball is just in Sony's court. I mean, we've been waiting on the A7S III forever. Hopefully it shows up. Thanks so much for checking out this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Check out some of the other videos that I've been dropping on the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.